morning. Welcome to today's edition of Valentine. It is the 17th day of March 2026. For those of you celebrating, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, whatever you're celebrating, celebrate hearty. For those of you celebrating birthdays, eat your cake, enjoy it. As I normally say, exercise thereafter. To all our regular listeners, good morning. To those of you just joining us for the first time, welcome and good morning. We are being simulcast on TVC Channel 40. We're on Facebook as well as YouTube. We're on your FM dial at 98.9. Just to remind you of our local number if you wish to join in on the conversation or bring something to the fore. Our local number is 466-0989. In the U.S., 1-305-921-4619 or 1-718-285-6984. Or in the UK, 0333-440065. Biff, good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Hortensia. I am blessed, highly favored, and giving thanks. What about you?
I'm trying to be better than yesterday. At least that's the least I can do.
Of course. And some persons woke up this morning and they don't have the good fortunes to be here at this point. And we have to give thanks for the Almighty sparing us, blessing us to be here. Some persons may argue about that, but hey, I believe that's the case.
Exactly. We just got to do our best. And as some people say, let Jesus do the rest.
Indeed.
Just some headlines to start off today's program. On the local scene, the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force issues a warning about runaway teens. And this article is on our winnfm page. A member, this is on the sad note, so condolences to the entire community of... Should I say community of the entire island of Nevis? Let me say the entire island of Nevis. I saw Mr. Obi Everton Powell post this last night, and it says, a member of the Nevis debate team suddenly took ill and passed yesterday afternoon.
Wow.
So that's so sad. You heard me congratulate them yesterday because they came second in the debate, and then this is very sad news. I also heard a gentleman from Customs have since passed too. Ernie? I think it's Ernie's the name.
Wow, I know Ernie from Customs from Newton Ground.
I think that's the name, but I'm not sure.
Ernie Francis.
I think that's
the name. I said, I know a gentleman from Newton Ground by the name of Ernie Francis who works Customs. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's the person,
okay,
but whoever it is, that is sad. That is really, really sad.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So condolences if that part is as it is as well to the entire Customs family, and to the entire island of Nevis, and to the debating community, and to the debate team that took part and did so well in the competition. Nevis amassed 639 points. Antigua amassed 694. So it was the 54th Leeward Island debating competition. So. And
the debater that passed was a member of the Nevis team?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is really shocking.
Very, very.
The thing is that we don't know when our number is going to play Cartensia.
Boy.
And when it is played, we can say, hey, hold on for 5 minutes. Come back tomorrow. Let me do this.
Yeah, because to suddenly take ill and then just pass, that must be hard, especially on the family and everyone else that knew this individual.
It is shocking, even when you know somebody is on the deathbed, so to speak, and will die. It's just when.
Yeah, it's just when. Yeah.
That even when the person passes, that is hard. That is shocking. But never mind when somebody who
was just there.
Yes.
Exactly. The
sudden. All of a sudden.
Yeah, I think the sudden thing hits harder sometimes than you knowing, okay, this person has to go. But as you say, you still feel a type of way.
Mm.
Yeah.
And there was a situation that I understand. A gentleman, he went to church, went up to the altar for communion, and on his way back from the altar, after having communion, he collapsed and died.
Wow.
And
this is recent?
No, a few years ago.
Okay.
Death is a part of life, a very, very solid part of life, but that's a part of life we won't ever really get accustomed to. I don't think we'll ever get accustomed to death. But as a Calypsonian out in Nevis said, this and that, when your time come, you come.
Boy, we say it so, but anyways, none of us know the hour, the minute, whenever.
And death comes like a thief in the night.
just like that. We just have to, like how people say, oh, the blood pressure is a silent killer,
Hmm.
because you never know. You're battling your blood pressure, you don't know when, and then one day you're just there and that's it for you.
And the thing is, that blood pressure is not something just for elderly people.
No, everybody.
And similar to
Oh,
diabetes, diabetes is not something for the elderly.
yeah. It's funny that now you hear so many children have it, but I don't know if back then people had it because you know they ate a lot of starch. Then again, they worked hard, and
Yes, and
kids. And
played.
yes, we played outside. We weren't privileged to have these things in front of us that take up all of our attention.
Mm.
So we had fun, and that's as I we were talking the other day at work, and they said, "Oh, some of us fall out trees and all kind of thing." If we
Yes.
never even went to the doctor, we don't even want our parents know that we fell out of the tree. And they say, okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T.
Sunrising Hortensia and Quint and to the listeners.
It's Biff. Quint's not back
Oh,
yet.
sorry, not Quint. Troy.
Good
Troy.
morning, son. No problem. I understand that. No problem.
Now, Troy, yesterday I mentioned black water in Haiti.
Yes, sir.
Haiti. Let me share a little info on black water. Black water is a military private army, as the clip that Kalunji played yesterday. But here's the thing, Troy. Most people may or may not know. Blackwater is a highly equipped military private army with high-tech weapons. Now, they went into Haiti just after, these are my words, 100, I think it was 1,000 policemen were from Kenya went into Haiti when Haiti was going through what it's still going through. Now, these were black African Kenyans that went there to resolve or to maintain peace and order in Haiti. It is alleged, I think, Troy and Hortensia, that the Kenyans are no longer in Haiti.
Mm.
Blackwater was sent into Haiti. Now, if you know the history of the race that, sorry, I'm going to be very cautious and careful how I use my words here, but it is a known fact that we are the most hated people on the planet. And there are those who take pleasure in eliminating us. Let me repeat this, Troy. We are the most hated and disrespected race of people on the planet. And there are those who take pleasure, whether it is because they see us as property or they know something about us that we don't know.
Perhaps yes as a threat.
Troy,
Yes, sir.
now, you don't hate weak people. You don't hate weak people. We are hated globally. Black people are hated. Now, what is it they know about us that we don't know about ourselves? Is it our melanin that they grudge us for? Well, these are for individuals to find out for themselves. Because, Troy, what Journey is saying, when we gravitate to a book that says there is the devil and there is God, we need to know who is God and who is the devil, because both deities, God and devil, are spirit as we know them, yet acts are committed, and all the acts that were committed, Troy, they were committed by man. Are you following me, Troy?
Yes, yes, I am.
So then it begs the question, who is God and who is the devil? Higher self, the lower self. Troy, what Journey is saying here, before the Bible, before Christianity, before religion, there was harmony.
Can I intrude on you a second, Journey? You
Yes.
started off with Blackwater. And I'm getting
Yes.
the impression that you've diverted a little from that Blackwater and Haiti.
But Troy, what is wrong with diverting and making a point as to our history, as to why we are hated?
Okay.
We are hated, Troy. Make no mistake about it.
And
when
I
you
support
pause and
I
look,
support that.
when you
And
look
I
at
also
who we
say
are today,
black man is black man's biggest problem as well, eh? I
it's
don't.
try because some of us try has become devils like them.
Okay.
You know, try, it's a fact. I mean, some of us have become devils. Look at us. We were in chains. We were shackled. We were colonized. We were enslaved. All that was done to us, try. I mean, those who were before us, they were unalive. Genocide, atrocities. But yet we're still here, and we are ruled by the minority. So we need to pause and look for a moment and see. No, yet we rise, as the late Angela, in her poetry, she said, yet we rise. We are here because we are the seed. We are the seeds of the earth, child, and they hate us for more reasons than one. But let me get back to Blackwater, child. Blackwater, I mean, I don't know what the latest on Blackwater in Haiti right now, but like I said, there are those that take pleasure in killing us because they don't have a heart like us, try. We need to call the truth for what it is, and we also need to refer to them for what they are. They know who we are, and they know what they are not. And that's why we are hated, try. And here we are, tolerating their injustice and all the wickedness they have done to us. And here we are going along to get along. I can't emphasize that enough, try.
But how are we tolerating the
along.
wickedness? How are we tolerating the wickedness, as you said, to get along?
Well, I mean, look at what is happening today. From Venezuela to Nigeria to Sudan. I mean, is it fair for me to ask the question, who is going to invade America? Russia, China, Iran? If you listen to what Trump is saying and all the lies that is coming from his mouth, by twisting, because they feed us their narrative. They feed us, they control the media, so they feed us their narrative. Mm-hmm. But when we look behind the truth now, who is going to invade America? But you see, Catencia, all I'm saying is this. When we start loving ourselves, they become irrelevant. Does that mean that we hate them? No. When we start loving ourselves, Catencia and Joy, they become irrelevant because they are keeping us away from our birthright. They're keeping us. They don't want us to reconnect. But they are there. Look at all the military boots of Africa and Europe. Of America and Europe that is on the continent of Africa. Talking about military protection. I mean, really? Who are they protecting? Surely not Africans. They're protecting their interests. Now, what gives them right to the interests of Africa, the resources of Africa? What gives them right to our resources? I'll leave it there, guys.
All right,
thanks a lot. We appreciate that. Thank you for listening and thank you for your input. Have a good day, sir.
Someone on the wall said, you're cursed because your own sold you into slavery and you're blaming the buyers. So I get what he's saying, but I didn't hear you. Sorry? Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Don't forget, at 8:30 we have Weekly Dose, and it's Healthy Kidneys, Healthy Life. That's today's topic, so tune in for that. Caller, go ahead.
Good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Once more again, and greetings in Jesus Christ's name, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell, by the gospel only, through faith only, according to the Bible only, and Jesus, the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, First off, let me say this. Before Europeans went into Africa, Africans were already fighting each other, killing each other, enslaving each other, and that sort of stuff. Yeah. And the reason why these things happen is because the Bible said the heart of man is desperately evil and wicked.
Okay. Yeah.
And the devil uses man to do his own will. God uses man to do his will, and God even used the devil to do his will, because God is in control of everything and everyone. Now, Biff,
Yes, sir.
yesterday, I contacted the gentleman at the health department.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, at the clinic at Irish Town. The gentleman, I contacted him, and he said he's going to speak to someone at Casper, because he said they're the one who is responsible for down there, but still he's going to speak with them concerning the conditions of the restrooms down there and so on. So I guess it's all left to be seen, because down there need to be immediately cleaned up and put in proper order.
Well, the thing about that, Greg, I agree with you. Sorry to intrude. That is a topic better suited for Voices. However, I entertained it because of the health nature and the tourism impact it could have on our tourism industry. And I did say I would go down there, and I went down there 13 minutes past 1 after I left Voices yesterday. I grabbed some breakfast, and then I went down there. I did some investigations myself. There are 2 bathrooms, male and female, 2 sets of bathrooms, male and female, one on the eastern side, let's say in front of Koori, on the Koori section, and one on the western side, by the, let's say the market. And both on the eastern side, by Koori, they were locked, and I've been advised that they have been locked for some months, and I interviewed a few of the bartenders down there, the bar owners, and I was told even as far back as last year they were locked. Of course, I cannot substantiate that. But they did say it's for a very long time, months. Some did say at least 2 months, 3 months. That's on the eastern side. On the western side, the female section was locked and the male section was open. And I'm told that the females also use the male section. And the odor in there wasn't pleasant at all. I get the impression it has not been maintained for some time, and some of the pipes are working, water running in the toilet. There wasn't any water on the floor, but the water in the toilet keeps running and running.
Oh,
I called Scasper, the young lady. I called Scasper 7 times. The first time I got through, the young lady put me through an extension. I didn't get an answer. I called back. I got no answer from Scasper. I called back a 3rd time. I got the young lady, and she put me through to the same extension, which I didn't get an answer. I called, and when I got her eventually, she told me it was the assistant secretary for the CEO she was putting me through. And the final time I was calling her back to leave a message asking her to call me, I didn't. I called somebody who I know work at Scasper, and they told me, hey, Scasper isn't responsible for the bathrooms down there, the toilets. It is the Ministry of Tourism. I made a mistake and called HTA, and they redirected me to the Ministry of Tourism. I called, and the young lady told me, and this was very surprising to me, she told me that she's going to inform the PS or the minister. And the surprising part is, I am thinking the PS and the minister, they are extremely busy people, and something like bathroom needs fixing, that is not something they're supposed to be putting up their head about, so to speak. I expected somebody else, but she did say that, and I said, hey, okay, fine, no problem. So that is what happened yesterday afternoon. I didn't call the health department because, yes, the health department may go and it may become a health issue, but I thought I'll go straight to the source.
Yeah, but I think I made a mistake. The gentleman who I spoke with, he didn't say Casper. No, you said tourism. He said, is the tourism responsible for it? Yes,
Okay.
That's the correct thing. I think I made a mistake when I said Casper. No, it wasn't Casper. He said department. Sorry, not health, tourism. He said is responsible for them. Yes, that is very much correct. But let me say this, though. Let me say this. I say we don't know a lot of things, but I guess as we continue to get influx of people and foreigners, and as we get exposed to things, we get to know much more things. The government is who own those stuff, okay? The
At the end
government
of
is
the
who
day.
own the whole area, okay? The government is who own the whole area. They take the people money, the people from the bars that to pay the government and that sort of stuff. And that money, at least one of the things is supposed to be supposedly keep the maintenance of the area, okay? That is one of the reasons why the government takes money from the people and from us taxpayers as well to upkeep the stuff, to maintain the stuff. And specifically down there to maintain those things so that the people business can go on and run properly. Now,
Greg.
Those things not being properly maintained can affect, and I'm sure affecting negatively, the people's business down there, which the people are depending on. I think they can sue the government, you know. They can sue the government because what they're supposed to be doing, what the government's supposed to be doing, are not doing, and I'm sure they can prove to some extent that it's affecting their businesses.
Greg, can I intrude again? You said something, I think it was yesterday, that no workers have been down there for some time, and that is something all the bar owners were saying. They are no longer cleaners, security. Again,
no, I think it's the man. I think it's the man, not me. The man
okay,
who's
sorry.
second what
I
said.
apologize, but it was said yesterday that no cleaner down there to maintain it, and that's something that all the bar owners I interviewed said. So whether it's true or not, that's a different kettle of fish. But we have to we're expecting the good doctor in at 8:30 Cartensia, so we have to go to some ads now in preparation for her, Greg. So,
by the way, this can be made a news item, eh? Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
All right, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Buster! We run things are on we. Buster! Buster! Living color, do it differently. Buster! Buster! Large and in charge, like for the party. Buster! Buster! We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
7 flavors, best taste, Buster, bolder, better, better. Pick your color.
We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
Buster, live in full color.
Buster!
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
Buster! We run things are on we. Buster! Buster! Living color, do it differently. Buster! Buster! Large and in charge, like for the party. Buster! Buster! We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
7 flavors, best taste, Buster, bolder, better, better. Pick your color.
We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
Buster, live in full color.
Buster!
And we're back on Island T. It's just about 28 minutes after the hour of 8. Yeah, we're going to get an early start because we know we always have callers and we have questions. And welcome to today's edition of Weekly Dose. I am your host, Cortensia, and today we are talking about something incredibly important, our kidneys. March is National Kidney Month. Yes, it is, a time dedicated to raising awareness about kidney health and kidney disease. I should have worn something green, but I swear everything green's in the wash. So joining us this morning is Dr. Osborne, who will help us to understand what kidney disease is, how common it is, and what we can do to protect our kidneys. Dr. Osborne, welcome, and once again, good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here with you another morning. So I'm happy that you remembered that this month is Kidney Awareness Month. And we've never done a discussion on the kidneys. Mm-hmm. And it is such an important topic as working in healthcare and having a private practice. Not only am I a surgeon, I'm dealing with a lot of patients with multiple comorbidities, and you're trying to assess that patient as a whole individual so that you can proceed with whatever surgical procedure you may have to do in that individual. So you always have to look at the patient as a whole, because even if a person is having something as a hernia repair, if their kidneys aren't functioning well, they're unable to eliminate some of the medications well, and that person needs to be worked up well and have an understanding of what are the other underlying causes of this kidney disease. So it's a very important topic, and yeah, this is Kidney Awareness Month. And I'm not wearing green either. I should have been wearing green as you are.
As I said, everything green is in the wash for me. So let's start with the basics, Doc. What exactly do the kidneys do?
So you're asking me about the function of the kidneys, Cortensia. And we know that the kidneys are two bean-shaped structures. They're small but mighty, and they sit in the lower back, just under the rib cage there, deep inside. We call that in the retroperitoneal space. So if you open the tummy, you don't really see them. You have to go behind and look for them. Okay. But their main job is to filter the blood. So they're our filtration system. So think about it. You remember back in the day when you had to strain your tea, especially when we used a lot of that brown sugar that had a lot of stuff in
sediments.
it. The sediments and stuff, you'll have to. So think of our kidneys as like that. Every bit of the blood passed through it and is cleaned out, the waste is taken out, and all of the toxins that are inside of our kidneys. So they're very important structure. They help to maintain the blood pressures as well too. So for persons who may not know this, but they produce a specific hormone, so your blood pressure remains stable. So if your blood pressure goes too low, it releases this hormone that helps to retain fluid. Okay. So it helps in that homeostasis, or that balance of fluid inside of our bodies. That's why often when people have kidney failure, they get all swollen up and puffy appearing because they're not able to do that. They regulate electrolytes. Think about like sodium and potassium. Those are important substance or salts in our body that the kidney has to regulate. When you have too much potassium, it has to excrete more of it. When it doesn't have enough sodium, it needs to retain it, and it retains it with water. So it's a very complex system that keeps going on. And it also helps to produce red blood cells. Oftentimes when persons' kidneys fail, they have anemia. Why is that? Because there's a specific hormone, erythropoietin. That hormone, what it does, it stimulates the bone marrow, so the bone marrow can produce red blood cells when we need it, okay? So it also does something important. It activates vitamin D. And that vitamin D helps for us to be able to produce and retain calcium. That is where people have kidney failure. You often see them on calcium pills because the calcium is very low, because the function that the kidney does is no longer, it's unable to do that. So it cannot activate that vitamin D so that it can be participate in the usage, or we call these words, big words, of homeostasis, or the balance of calcium in our body. So once the kidneys work well, everything goes well. But if these two kidneys are malfunctioning, it's really chaotic for the human body.
Oh boy. So what exactly is kidney disease?
So essentially, it's unable to filtrate the blood as it needs to. Okay? And so these toxins, waste, urea, all these stuff that it needs ammonium that it needs to get rid of, it holds on to that, and that creates many crises inside of the body. So it essentially is that the kidney is not filtrating as it should. Inside of the kidneys, you have small structures, millions of them. They're called nephrons, and inside them they have what you call the glomerulus. That is like the sieve or the strainer.
The strainer, yeah.
Yes, and it made up of lots of tiny blood vessels, and all of the blood go there, and it filter out what it needs to get rid of, and it remains. So imagine that you have your strainer, and there are holes in it, or it gets blocked.
Yeah.
It's not going to be able to strain out that tea that you want to have properly.
Yeah.
And so that is why it starts holding on to that substance, and that substance that is toxic remains inside of our body,
yeah.
and it should normally be excreted. We know we have different stages of kidney disease too. Kidney disease, and when we talk specifically about chronic kidney disease, it's usually the damage to the kidney over 3-month period. 3 months. Acute would be less than 3 months. Chronic is more than 3 months, so that there is loss of function of that kidney, and there are different stages of it from stage 1 to stage 5. When you are stage 5, these persons are in really critical condition. They need either a kidney transplant or they need to be on on dialysis.
Dialysis. Okay. So how big of a problem is kidney disease globally?
It is a massive problem. They're saying that at least 10% of the world's population have some form of kidney disease. And that represents over 850 million persons worldwide, okay? And oftentimes these persons are unable to have access to some of the treatment. So that leads to millions of deaths every year as a result of this. Because think about people worldwide. We've got over 8 billion, I think, persons in the world, and many persons cannot access the necessary treatment as a result of that. And they're saying that in many countries, 1 in 3 adults with diabetes or hypertension develops kidney disease, okay? And many times it's one of these silent diseases as well, because you don't know until it is in one of those latter stages where you start having all the symptoms. You're tired, you're weary, you realize that you're feeling puffy and swollen, you're not able to urinate as you should, and these things then become, when it becomes really critical.
Oh boy. Ooh. What are the common conditions that damage kidneys?
Well, this is where the heart of our discussion is going to be important, because we have got to understand what is going to damage our kidneys and how we can take care of our kidneys better. Number 1 is our blood sugars, diabetes, diabetes mellitus, especially type 2. Or the type that tends to occur more in adult ages. Those persons, it damages the kidneys, and it occurs about the persons who have kidney disease, about 30 to 50% of them is as a result of diabetes. High blood pressure. We know that the blood pressure damages the blood vessels. Remember, we said that these nephrons and these glomerulus, the sieve or the strainer, the mesh, that is made up of tiny, tiny, tiny blood vessels, and they need to be functioning well so they can filter out the blood. So if these blood vessels are damaged, as high blood pressure does throughout the body. Remember, we've spoken about that. It damages the heart, it damages the brain. Now we're talking about how it damages the kidneys, and so the kidneys don't function. Persons who have kidney stones can go into kidney failure, especially if one of these stones block the tube that drains the fluid from the kidney down to the bladder. And that could have severe repercussion on the kidney, leading to severe kidney damage and loss of that kidney. What about, we heard of polycystic kidney disease, where there's multiple, is a autoimmune or a condition that one is born with that goes right down to the genes. And what happens, there are multiple cysts, and it destroys the structure and the functioning body, which is the nephrons. These tiny structures, they're destroyed, and so the kidney doesn't function well. And if you have recurrent infections, you can that can end up in kidney failure. And a combination of a lot of these things can happen. And persons who have lupus, we see a lot of patients with lupus who then have kidney disease. So you want to make sure obesity can contribute to it too. Secondarily, things like smoking and high intake of salts. So you have to make sure, keep these things in mind in your day-to-day living.
Oh, wow. Let us talk about symptoms. So what symptoms should people watch out for?
Most of the times, Hortensia, sure, even if you're not a healthcare provider, you would see somebody with kidney disease, and there's a classic look to that individual. Yes. So swelling to the feet and to the ankles. They have that face about them. Sometimes there's even a breath that you characteristically know about these patients because it's not functioning well. There is holding on to a lot of these toxins, and there is a classic look about them, and odor sometimes you're smelling from some of these patients. There's fatigue. They're nauseous. Okay. They're getting extra tired because remember we said that if the kidneys are damaged, you're not producing enough of that hormone that helps to stimulate the blood to produce red blood cells that we need. So these persons can become anemic. They can't concentrate well because a buildup of these toxins like urea inside of the body, all right? And that could create lots of harm. These persons are unable to urinate, of course, because the kidneys is not filtering, and the blood pressures tend to go up. Remember, we say one of the function of the kidneys is to maintain an equilibrium in the fluid intake and maintain equilibrium in the in blood pressure because of the hormones that it produces. Yeah. So they're having weakness, fatigue, they're feeling exhausted, they're swollen up, they look puffier than they need to, they get extra tired, okay? They're not urinating as they should.
I see something here says foamy urine, that's a sign too?
Because those are proteins, you start losing protein in your urine, yeah.
Oh my gosh. How can someone check if their kidneys are healthy?
How someone can check if their kidneys are healthy? Well, in the early stage, we say that we do not know most of the symptoms because the person can be asymptomatic, meaning they're not really feeling anything. Remember, there are different grades to it, and the body find a way to adapt, okay, until it gets so poor where the kidney function and the ability of this kidney to excrete what it needs to excrete or filter, as the word says, is so impaired, the person start having symptoms. But how can you know? You need to do your blood works. So that is where diabetics, especially hypertensive patients, need to check in with their physician, do their blood test. There's a specific test you want to get done, the glomerular filtration rate. It calls GFR. So it's a calculation of how much urine per minute that the kidney is producing. And so there's a normal range, and as that range decreases, all right, that person is going into different stages, up to stage 5, where you're producing less than 15 milliliters per minute. So it's a whole calculation. So if your kidneys are functioning well, the normal value is around 100 to 120. But as your filtration capability decreases, that GFR is going to decrease, and so it's an indicator. You also want to look at your urine tests. Your urine should not be releasing proteins. Albumin, you might have done a urine analysis and see some of these. Blood, it means that the kidney is not functioning adequately because the blood cells should not pass through the strainer. Follow me here. It should retain there. The proteins that our body needs should not be able to pass to the strainer. It means that there's damage there.
Wow. Let me tell you, our body is magnificent, but then the trouble it encounters at times. So what are some simple steps people can take to protect their kidneys?
We can do a lot, and that's why we're here and in the Kidney Awareness Month, we have to emphasize the stuff that we can do, because there's a lot that we can do. Control our blood pressure. I emphasize it completely with my patients. We need tight control of our blood pressures, because if that doesn't happen, that is the second most common cause, secondary to diabetes. You want to manage your diabetes. I saw a patient yesterday who who had a hemoglobin A1C as high as 9.5. You want to keep it under 5.9 for the normal range. So his, it was very high. And the consequences come. And a lot of times our patients, when I look back in my file, when I'd seen him some time before, I placed him on some treatment, and when he told me what he was taking, he wasn't taking enough of the necessary medication to control his blood sugar. What happens in an instant like that? The damage is going on silently to those kidneys, to those little glomerulus and those little nephrons, and that leads to the problem. So poorly controlled blood sugars is the number one cause of leading to kidney disease. You have to stay well hydrated. Oftentimes we don't drink enough. I know that happens. You're sitting, you're working, you're going through a day, and you're not drinking enough. What happens? That puts the kidney having to work more and having to retain more fluid. And you're not getting that adequate washout. Imagine you're not hydrating to keep that kidney and that, how can I say, the sieve or the strainer flowing through properly. Yes, imagine that. It can become clogged. Let's think about, you can develop kidney stones as well too, and that we know can damage the kidney. You want to have a balanced diet and reduce salt, because it comes back to controlling your blood pressure. A healthy weight. We know obesity, we can blame obesity on every health problem that we have, because it does contribute. All of these fat cells create a lot of inflammatory response that damages a lot of our blood vessels, damages a lot of our structures. Exercise regularly. We're not exercising enough, all of us. We know that. We need to be out there walking more. We need to be exercising more in the gym. Even if you're going to do it at home with a video on YouTube,
do something.
We have got to do something. Avoid smoking of any type. I recommend we strongly avoid smoking and get your regular medical checks, because unless you do some of these blood works in the early stage, you do not know that there are changes going on, Troy, in your kidneys. And so if you're able to see that there are changes, your physician can make the necessary recommendations so that that early stage, like stage 1, doesn't progress to the end stage, which is the highest stage, like stage 5. Do you understand? So we have to make sure we do our check-ins with our physician, especially if we know we have one of these underlying conditions that leads to kidney failure.
Let me put in this improvised question. If you catch the kidney disease earlier, can it be reversed?
I like that. If it is an acute renal impairment, remember we spoke about acute, mostly we are talking about chronic, where it has been going on for a longer period of time. We say it's defined more than 3 months. You want to then, control it. The most important thing is not to worsen the condition. So you don't want to have a stage 1, a very early stage, and you poorly manage your pressure, your blood sugars, and it continues to worsen the damage. But if there are damages to these nephrons, some of them may not be reversible. You just want to prevent it from progressing. Does that make sense? Yeah. And if you stay in stage 1, you can be perfectly fine, because persons have renal impairment and they're perfectly going along well. But you want to make sure that you prevent it from deteriorating. And some persons can have deterioration that occurs quicker than others because of the care the care that they take. And
Okay. Thanks for that answer. So are there medication or supplements people should be careful with?
Yes, a lot of these medications, there's some antibiotics. If you know that a person has kidney impairment, we're always advised to not use those in the healthcare. So it's important to ensure that you inform your physician all of your conditions, okay? You want to avoid certain medications, antibiotics. We talk often about the NSAIDs. We use them so much in our community. Like we're talking about the ibuprofen. We're talking about Aleve. A lot of those having ibuprofen. Go ahead.
All right. So caller, go ahead for the doctor. Okay. Feel free to call back as we continue along.
Yes, and so those NSAIDs we use a lot. Voltaren. Every time people go to the hospital, you get a script for Voltaren. You don't want to take these medications too often, only as necessary, because these are some of the main medication.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Weekly Dose.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just one or two questions for the doctor. Can you survive okay with just one kidney since we have two? And when you have like transplants, does the donor does his risk for kidney failure and so on, does that increase? Secondly, you mentioned the number of different ailments that can cause kidney failure. What exactly is the recommended time to check on these things? Because, okay, for instance, when you're younger, you go for an annual check. As you get older, it's, I don't know what you call it, 6 months or something like that. And because, especially when you're older, anything, I guess, can happen at any time. You mentioned some of them are silent, right? So what really is the recommended times to do these tests? And finally, something like blood pressure, for instance. Is there a range that you can tolerate? I'm thinking, for instance, that how often should you measure your blood pressure, because I guess it fluctuates throughout the day and those kinds of things. I was wondering about those questions.
All right, thank you, caller.
So, Katenzi, you made a note of the questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So he asked about
how often should you measure your blood pressure, and is there a range? So these are it. I was starting with that one there.
Okay. Yes, we know that ideally your blood pressure should be 120/80. We've talked about that before when we talk about high blood pressure and its complication. And that can be classified into stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Okay? We want to keep our blood pressure as close to normal as possible. I had a discussion with a very well-known gentleman in the community as a patient, and he was having this back and forth with me because his friend had high blood pressure and the friend blood pressure was such and such, and he don't know why I want his blood pressure to be lower than that. That should be okay because he's hypertensive. So we're talking about the blood pressure. What does it do? It increases the force, the shear force of the blood through the vessel. And what it does, it damages the wall of these blood vessels. When these blood vessels wall are damaged, what happens? Plaque can deposit on them and adhere or stick to it. What does that do, Contentia? That narrows the opening of the blood vessels, and then it decreases blood flow through. Hence why when there's a decrease in the blood flow to the kidneys become impaired. The kidneys start saying, where is the volume of blood that normally comes through me? And then what it does, remember, it always wants to keep what we call homeostasis, or that balance, that perfect balance. It starts producing this hormone that's called renin. This hormone helps to increase the retention of sodium and water. And so it creates that vicious cycle, and then this increases your blood pressure. The blood pressure damages the kidneys more. You want as tight a control as you can possibly have. Hence, we recommend that you want to keep it as close to 120/80, where possible under 130. Okay? That where you do your exercise, you want to make sure you take your blood pressure medication, you control it with diet. So it needs to be as close to the normal range where possible in persons who are hypertensive. That is the goal of taking the medication. That is why we recommend that you continuously take your medication. Okay? He asks about what is the recommended time to do a kidney test. There is no specific recommended time. It's a part of your annual screening. If you know that you go in because you're above the age of 40, you at least need to start getting these screening tests done every year to know where your numbers are. We spoke about your numbers like your hemoglobin A1C. You want to check your numbers like your cholesterol, because you can't pull these numbers out the the air. Unless you do your blood works, you're not going to know what these numbers are. So you can go in and check with your physician at least every year. If you have associated high blood pressure and diabetes, even more so you need to go in. If your blood pressures are not controlled, your doctor may want to see you every 6 months. If your blood sugar, they want to repeat your HbA1c more frequently to make sure we get a tighter control. So your underlying conditions will determine how frequently, but you want to at least go in once per year, especially as we're in our 40s and 50s, because we need to get an idea of what our numbers are. So he asks about if it's okay to live with one kidney. We see many patients with one kidney. It means that that kidney has to work a little bit harder. But persons are born with one kidney. And so you can also, if you're a healthy person and you're compatible, you can be a kidney donor. People often do that because it's a life-saving gift. If you can't get it with some persons because of death, trauma, accident, persons who are donor, they give that life-saving gift. If you're alive and healthy and they've done all your checks, you can donate to someone who you're compatible with, yes. And that person can go on to live a healthy life and you can go on to live a healthy life. But you have to also keep in mind you've got to be healthy and you've got to ensure that you care for that one kidney now that you have. But we can live comfortably with one kidney, ultimately.
Not because you have one kidney, that doesn't put you at risk of developing kidney disease?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
I see patients in their 60s and stuff with one kidney. They've been born with that all their life.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine because that one kidney is functioning well and it's doing the work of. It's the workhorse of the body. But you don't have a chance to lose one kidney.
Yep.
Okay.
Because you only got one.
You only have one.
And he asked also how many times a day should you measure your blood pressure? I think I included that in the last question.
How often should you measure your blood pressure? If you're hypertensive, here's what I recommend, because persons will have different strategies. I recommend that my patient check it, especially if they're newly diagnosed, daily, until we get a good balance of where their blood pressure is, based on their medication, based on what their diet is like, based on their exercise habit. And once you get that under control, you can start to limit it. Sometimes persons know, I've been a little bit more quote unquote naughty with my diet. Maybe you want to check in with that and do your blood pressure checks. But once a day, you don't need to, once you have a good understanding of where your health is and where your pressure normally lies, because it normally stays within a healthy range, you can do that every day. And once you're comfortable, you can start to space it out even more. But it means that you are disciplined with your medication, you're disciplined with your diet, and you're exercising. So that once you know where your numbers are, you don't need to check it. So it's going to depend on the person. And in team with your healthcare provider, they may want you to check it more frequently because they realize that your numbers are going up. That could help a physician assess how they're going to adjust the medication. I want our audience to know that if you're diabetic and hypertensive, that they keep in mind that it doesn't mean you're going to be on the same medication for the rest of your life. It doesn't mean for the next 20 years you don't check in. Because people would often tell me, well, doc, I'm taking medication, Cartensia. And then, but they've been taking the same medication 20 years, and no, it doesn't work as effectively. So you may have to add a second medication. Hence why the dialogue with your physician and the checking in with your annuals, that is why these things are done. Because persons would take one pill since they were 40 and want to take that single pill into their 60s, and then that may not be adequate at that point.
Got you. Okay, before we had the caller, we were at the question, are there medications or supplements people should be careful with?
Yes, we spoke about things like NSAIDs. We mentioned in our community we use a lot of Voltaren. Every time we have a little ache, we grab a Voltaren or ibuprofen. It comes in different names, Advil and stuff. You want to avoid that. Certain antibiotics, there's certain supplements. You have to be careful with them, especially if you have some form of kidney disease. You may want to adjust your dosing. There's certain antibiotics we will have to give a person a lower dose because it put more strain. So you have to think about, as a physician or healthcare provider, where is this substance eliminated? If it's eliminated to the kidneys, you're going to have to be more conscious of that, especially if you have any kidney impairment.
Oh boy! So what are the complications of kidney disease? I know you've been mentioning a few right throughout this entire topic, but there are a few more that
we need to keep emphasizing them. We said this is a vicious cycle. Hypertension can lead to kidney disease. Kidney disease can lead to hypertension.
Wow.
Yes. So one affects the other because that body is always trying to keep everything in balance. Heart failure. If your kidneys are failing, Hortensia, you're not emptying out that fluid that you need to eliminate. It puts more strain on the heart because you're retaining much more fluid. And that workhorse of the heart has to keep pumping out that large volume. And eventually that muscle wears and tears over time. You want to think about stroke. If you have kidney disease, your blood vessels are damaged, your increased risk of getting a heart attack or stroke. Fluid retention, that fluid retained can go to your lungs, causing what we call edema in the lungs or swelling. The same way your legs can become swollen, your lungs. And the lungs, it's almost like you're drowning.
Yeah.
If your lung cannot exchange oxygen or interchange that oxygen, you're not going to get enough oxygen for you to survive. You can have things like high potassium. That high potassium can cause what, Hortensia? Heart arrhythmias. Your heart starts fluttering out of the norm, and that can lead to heart attacks. Anemia, we said that the kidneys are very important. They release a hormone that stimulates the bone marrow to release those red blood cells. Keep that in mind. If your kidneys are not functioning, you can't process calcium properly. That leads to what? Destruction of your bones, because what your body needs to do, get that calcium out of the bones. So then what happens? It releases that calcium out of the bone to circulate into the blood system and the bloodstream to maintain the functions that all the calcium does, and then your bones get weakened.
Oh boy.
You have things like uremia. Uremia means that the urea, which is part of the waste, is not going out. So it is retained, and it leads to all these complications. It could lead to stroke. It could lead to confusion. The person can become comatose because so much urea and that creatinine is being retained, and these persons can die. It leads to infections, and it can lead to dialysis and needing a kidney transplant. And what we don't want, because we don't offer transplants here, we do have dialysis, but most of the time, if a person don't have the resources, they may not be able to do dialysis 3 times a week. And there are persons, because they have underlying conditions, or maybe because of their age, they may not be a good candidate for dialysis.
Oh, wow. Well, let me tell you, it hurts my heart when I see some of these things, but we have to learn. So when should someone see a doctor regarding their kidney health?
So that was part of the question. That was part of the question that the caller made. And when you want to see a doctor, if you have these underlying conditions, diabetes, hypertension, you have a family history of kidney disease. Lots of the kidney impairment can be hereditary, autoimmune conditions as well. If you start to see that you're retaining fluid, that your legs are getting swollen, you say, Doc, I need to check this out because something might be going on. It may not be your kidneys, but it's good to have it investigated. So if you have any urinary changes as well too, you need to go in and check it with your patient. A patient that comes to see me frequently, I think last year she came in and she was all anxious. She took a picture, and she's relatively young, in her early 40s. And her sister commented on the picture that she looked puffy and swollen. So she came to see me because she started thinking about kidney disease. Those were essentially normal. I guess she was just putting on some weight. But it's important that she checked in. That's the important thing that I wanted to say.
All right. So before we close, what message would you like listeners to remember during Kidney Awareness Month?
Okay. It is important that we know that kidney disease is often silent but preventable. So you need to know your risk. Get your kidneys checked out, especially if you have diabetes or hypertension. We've got to stay hydrated. My partner told me I'm a water carrier, not a water drinker. So I can't put a bottle in my bag, and then I bring home that same water at time.
Boy.
So we have to be careful. So we have to stay hydrated, maintain a healthy lifestyle, and be cautious with some of the medication and the supplements. I remember this thing a lot of persons use, and I don't want to get into trouble, but this creatine that persons use to build this muscle
in
and
the
stuff.
gym.
Yes, so you got to be careful with some of these. They can lead to kidney impairment. All right, so some of these that quote unquote natural supplements, please make sure you do your investigations and you research them, because if you may have slight kidney impairment, that can push you over the edge and worsen any conditions that you have.
Oh, wow.
Troy, any comments? What's your
Yes,
contribution?
Doc, I had a question about the kidney stones. What really causes the kidney stones? Or I think there's also a gallstone. What really causes? What's the difference between them?
Okay, those are different things. So we're talking about the kidneys. The kidneys, the stones are formed because of deposits of calcium. Okay, most of the stones are made from calcium and different minerals, uric acid, oxalate. So anytime there is an increase in that, and I take you back to basic science where we were in school, we mix the salt in the water and you put it out in the sun, and once that water evaporated, you saw the crystals.
Yeah.
So any increase in that substance, okay, could cause it to start to crystallize
Rise in your
and
body.
form the stone. Stones are also formed as a result of bacterial infection. So oftentimes when we are dehydrated, it's not enough blood, as we say, is pushing through that kidney. You have that increase in that mineral, whatever it is, and that becomes high in concentration, and it almost crystallizes out to form these stones. So you want to keep that in mind. You hear about gallstones and kidney stones, they're in two separate organs. In the gallbladder, if you have, it's almost like a similar effect. Any kind of those minerals or those substances that become highest in concentration, they almost like crystallize and form in the stones. But in the gallbladder, the stones are made up mostly out of things like bilirubin, cholesterol. And so if you have a high content of cholesterol, that becomes the dominant substance, and that becomes almost crystallized or hardened to form the stones. But kidney stones and gallstones are in two different organs. They don't have anything to do with each other. If you know that you have gallstones, it may be an incidental finding. You just have a stone in there and you don't have any symptoms. But if you start having symptoms, it means that that gallbladder is not longer functioning well and it needs to be removed. That's a different thing. Kidney stones, no. Sometimes you pass them if they're small enough. If they block the tube, what we call the ureter, it can lead to severe kidney impairment and losing a kidney in a severe infection. I hope, Troy, I was able to clarify your answer.
Can I squeeze in another question?
Go ahead.
You mentioned the kidney transplants. I know when persons are asking for blood, I'm OPAS, and I think I can give to almost everybody, but only OPAS could give to me. When it comes to kidney and kidney transplant, what sort of thing?
Yeah, but they're checking. There are lots of compatibility screening, okay? They're going to check for the same way blood type and stuff, but much more detail they're looking for to make sure that that person, when you give them that kidney, they're not going to reject it, okay? Because then you have a kidney, take out a good healthy kidney and it's rejected, it's destroyed. It's because your body is going to see it as a foreign thing, and your body is going to fight against it. Hence, when persons do have a kidney transplant as well, they have to be under lots of corticosteroids and medication to suppress your body rejecting that kidney. Okay? So you'd have to do lots of different blood tests to make sure that these persons are compatible, and even sometimes still the rejection is so acute, the person no longer has a kidney, has to go back on the waiting list, get another kidney. But yes, it's a very complex process of ensuring that both these, the donor and the receiver, are compatible, and that they can receive the kidney one.
And how long may these tests last? A month, a week?
No, well, it's a whole process, you know. Once you start to have kidney failure, especially in a first world country, you get on the list and the donors list. If a kidney becomes based on your criteria and the compatibility, you can get that kidney. And so tests are always being used because you really want to ensure that once that person get that kidney, it has little chance of rejecting it where possible.
Okay.
Yeah, but there is no one test and done. Okay, these persons are continuously being screened, and once a kidney comes in, they check for compatibility, and then you may be a donor based on that, because that list is really long. Okay, and somebody may pass in an accident who was healthy and who said that they wanted to be a donor. Then they screen that and see that kidney in that patient to see if they can work on that individual.
Someone on the wait list. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. Well, Dr. Osborne, I must say, excellent advice. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. It's always a pleasure having you in studio.
And it's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Cartencia. So let's take care of our kidneys, okay, people?
Yep, indeed. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to Weekly Dose. Join us again next week, same place, same time, as we continue to bring you important conversations about your health. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
Different.
Boy, Simeon giving us trouble today.
You're listening to winnfm 98.9. It is now 9:10, and we've had the good Dr. Osborne with us, giving us our weekly dose. We oftentimes do not take good care of our bodies, and the kidney, just like any other part, it's a critical part of it.
Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors. In an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Things are on we. Basta, basta. Living color, do it differently. Basta, basta. Large and in charge, like for the party. Basta, basta. We set the pace, then everybody follow.
7 flavors, best taste. Basta, bolder, better.
Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Join me, Percival Hanley, this coming Friday and every other Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon for Heritage Matters on Win Media SKN 98.9. Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you.
Tire treads gone? Going bald? Don't let this be you. It's time for new tires from TDC Automotive. As the month rolls along, buy 2 or more tires and get 20% off your purchase. Get more savings and safer driving for the roads ahead. Visit TDC Automotive today at Southwell Industrial Estate in St. Kitts or Penny's Industrial Estate, Nevis. TDC Automotive, #1 for a reason. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid while stocks last.
¿Listo para jugar pale, quiniela y tripleta? Con el juego Caribbean Numbers puedes convertir tus números favoritos en grandes premios en efectivo, hasta $20,000. Por tan solo $1, elige tus números y juega a tu manera. Quiniela, pale o tripleta, el que tú prefieras. Acierta los números ganadores y gana efectivo. Es divertido y tan fácil como 1, 2, 3. Tus números a tu manera. Es tu momento. Siente la emoción en cada jugada. Disponible en cualquier agente del Caribbean Lottery en toda la isla. Debes tener 21 años o más para jugar. Por favor, juega responsablemente.
Children running away from home, police explained that counseling for both the child and family is strongly recommended and encouraged. They added that in more serious cases where the intervention repeatedly failed, the court can declare a child to be beyond care and control, which may result in a detention order. All right. So I'll begin from the top. The public is being reminded that children who repeatedly run away from home could face consequences for their actions, as incidents involving teenagers leaving home without permission continue to be reported. Just recently, 2 teenage girls were reported missing by their parents. They were later found unharmed, much to the relief of their families and the wider public. However, the incidents have raised growing concerns about why some teenagers continue to leave their homes, prompting police to deploy significant time, manpower, and other resources to relocate them. These concerns also come in the wake of last year's tragic incident involving teenager Janilika Romney, who was found dead, a case that deeply shocked the Federation. Police were asked whether any counseling is provided to teenagers after they are found. In response, the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force said it does not directly offer counseling services. However, officials noted that both the child and their parents are typically referred to the Department of Social Services and the Public Counseling Center at Greenlands. Police were also asked about the mechanism in place to prevent repeat cases of children running away from home. Police explained that counseling for both the child and family is strongly recommended and encouraged. They added that in more serious cases where the intervention repeatedly fails, the court can declare a child to be beyond care and control, which results in a detention order. And this is my thing. Long ago, we couldn't just go out the yard and not say where we weren't going, and we had to make sure we heard a yes or a no or go back in the house. Because if you go anywhere, when you come back, licks or some projectile is coming your way. And as we said, most of our parents should have played for the West Indies team, because when they send those things flying, no matter how, you could run in a zigzag and the thing still catch you. I do not understand who was controlling it when it came your way, but it got you.
And it worked.
It worked. I don't understand. We got licks and we survived. Is this gentle parenting or just letting kids do whatever they want? They just, I don't understand. And then, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Okay, we lost that caller. And us constantly being concerned. Like every time I see something come out with a young girl missing, I am afraid.
I get really scared.
And I just start praying, because I'm like, not again, not again. And I know sometimes people say, oh, they're gone by the people, or they're gone by this, or they're gone by that. But come on, stop scaring us like that. This is not a good feeling. As you say, your parents are concerned. Think about us. Look, last year, I sure people say, oh, she probably just hiding out by her boyfriend. Next minute we hear, she's no longer with us. That was very hard to deal with. We young people, especially young women, stay at your yard. Stop. Like, where are they going? Let your parents know where you're going.
And apart from that, it is very important, critically important, if something is bothering them, for them to reach out and speak to somebody, a friend, a family member, a teacher, a counselor, even a priest. And not just a one-off, but keep talking if it's something ongoing. Because if they feel like they're all alone, they're going to...
That's why they say go to the counseling center. And then I saw a next headline that says building a safe space at home for mental health in the Federation's youth. And I don't know if you've seen it, Troy, but more and more, every time I venture into town, I'm seeing a new young fella on the street.
Girl, Cortencia,
it is hard.
I was going to ask you if we could touch that this morning, girl. And you're correct. It's like every week you're seeing somebody. I'm walking along and then I'm hearing this conversation behind me. So I'm turning around to see. And it's a young man having a healthy conversation with himself.
Wow.
Yeah, and I keep wondering where these guys coming from. Are the deportees? I don't know, but the state of mind. And my concern is even greater, because yes, they may not have done anything to anyone at this point, but I'm thinking it's only a matter of time before somebody start to say trip out. And
but you saw the incident when the young lady walked over the man's car and he drove. Oh my gosh, I'm glad he missed her. And then people said, oh, she's not crazy, because when she heard when she heard the vibration or the ruckus the car was coming with, she dashed in the store. But I'm thinking to that person, listen, I'm glad nothing happened to either of the two of them, because he could have ended up in jail and she could have been dead, because I don't know, she just walked up on the man's car, walked down, and he just got in the car and got furious and sped after her.
There's a Calypsonian, the mighty Godfrey, from out of Green Valley, Keon. He has a song, if you're crazy, why you don't try to eat a stone? Why you don't try to go down the bay and drink off all this water? I guess he was trying to say that, yes, there may be mental issues, but they still have a sense of danger and non-danger, and perhaps right and wrong.
I heard one of them in particular, he said, oh, if I want to go mash up a car, caller will get to you. I just mash up the car, and then they're going to just carry me up, so deal with me and let me go again. Caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Good morning. Okay, it sounds like somebody was still on the line.
But it is concerning, and...
Caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Good morning.
Yes. Hello, it's me again. Now, at least two things quickly. One, those who you mentioned this morning who have passed on, I would like to say condolences to their families and friends and associates, and this is why this is among the reasons why I continually say, you live in obedience to the word of God. When you die, you're going to go to heaven for all eternity. But if you live in disobedience to the word of God, when you die, you're going to end up in hell for all eternity. Only the blood of Christ could save us, and we need to be obedient to the word of God as well. Now, and as a result of being saved by the blood of Jesus. Now, concerning the health issue, it's a very sad thing, very sad. But the only real cure for mental illness and that sort of stuff is the Word of God. Having your mind stayed on the Word
But
of
Greg,
God.
if for some, okay, and we get that, right? But for persons that really need help, they need help. And I'm saying, right, if they're not going to go to the institution, I was having this conversation with a young lady the other day, at least the institution can meet them where they are once it is legal, because I don't want anybody to do anything. So if they see them on the road, walk with some orderlies, have the injection ready. I don't want to say corner them, but wherever you see them, try to hold them and inject them and, let them be normal. Because if they're not going to go to the institution for the medication or the injection or whatever that keeps their mental clarity on the right path, then you have to meet them where they are.
Perhaps the government needs to get in and pass some legislation that will allow them to manage the situation, because most, if not all, of these persons may very well have family, and at some point at least reach out to the family. Maybe the family may not want to have anything and distance themselves from these individuals, which, if it is the case, it is extremely sad. However, I have concern about that.
Yeah.
That it's sad to say. I really believe it's only a matter of time, and it's not that I'm calling it, that somebody is going to go over the edge a little further and get physical with people.
With somebody, yeah. And we don't want that to happen at all.
Could you imagine if that were to happen with a visitor, a tourist?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so we have to really look at that seriously, the mental state of people.
Yeah.
These guys, and a few females walking around as well.
Yeah, few, but most are gentlemen, and then sometimes we attribute it to them using substances, and they trip.
Indeed.
But still, we have to control it because the numbers are growing.
Indeed.
And some of them that had a bit more comprehension, now it's getting worse, because I see one, his pants is dropping down and he's doing absolutely nothing about the pants. There's one, he walks around with a towel. I don't know if he goes to the bay and bathe, but he's always, almost everything is almost always outside. And then we have this young one, Marquis. I call out to him now and then when I see him on the road. A colleague of mine I went to school with, like, the numbers are it's just too many on the road now.
Go ahead, Greg.
But let me say this. Those injections and medicines, at best, they could only provide a temporary relief. What can provide them a permanent relief is the Word of God in their mind and them living according to the Word of God. That's the
okay, so that can happen afterwards, Greg.
Yes.
This is where you come in, so maybe you can link with the Department of Health and help them in that part, because once we get them proper, as I said, on the right path, then maybe you can help them out with that part too, because I'm not going to down that at all.
Yeah, but like I've said, a lot of, not all, but I'm saying like a lot of the sicknesses that we suffer from today, including mental health issue, are the result of living in disobedience to the Word of God. A lot of people, you see them drunk and and mental health, and say, well, guess what? A lot of the time is the conscience bothering them. They're living with all sorts of regrets and that sort of stuff. Okay? All because
But Greg, do you really feel like everybody goes through the same thing? Because all of us are just this much away from probably heading down the same path,
It is said that there's a very thin line between sanity and
insanity. Exactly.
And
the only thing that can keep you from crossing that line is the Holy Scriptures richly in your mind. That's the only thing that can permanently cure that. Drugs and this sort of stuff, medicine and this sort of stuff can only provide a very temporary relief at best. You want a permanent thing. And the only thing that can give people permanency is the Word of God, and also prevent them from going down that stage as well, that road as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Greg, for your contribution. But
potentially, there's this tall gentleman. He keeps asking for $1, and he goes around. And when he comes to me and say, "Hey, sure, no problem. I have my vehicle. Could you wash it for me, and I'll give you $25." and he watches me and asks, well, in some cases he asks me if I'm crazy, and I find that humor.
I wonder if that's the same one that says when he just want to go relax, he just mash up somebody's thing and they can just carry him up there and he gonna be good.
I don't know, but he watch me ask me if I'm crazy.
Oh, you're crazy, no. You're crazy
I
one.
found that extremely funny, Hortensia. But it is a serious thing.
It is, indeed.
And there's a short gentleman, I think he's from the Newtown region, and I'm told he was a very, very, very good footballer. And he's walking around, and I had a situation.
I think that might be the same guy, because he does have the features of a footballer.
Short and
stocky. Yeah.
I had a situation. I experienced a situation last year, maybe year before last. I was at Baker's Corner, and he came and asked me for $5 to buy something. I was by the lady Stella.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no man, I'll do better than that. I bought a lunch and gave him.
Mm-hmm.
He walked across the side of the street.
Mm-hmm.
Pinders was sitting down on the next side of the street.
Mm-hmm.
And he shared the food with Pinder.
That's sweet.
He tear the cover and he put over some, and he and Pinder sat there sharing.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that was really touching.
Yeah.
And I saw something similar a few years ago with a gentleman down at the ferry terminal that he was sharing a cigarette with another a guy with mental issues. Let me put it that way. And the hygiene concern wasn't, well, the hygiene elements weren't a concern of mine, but the sharing, the thoughtfulness of the sharing. That was. So I'm wondering if they don't have some kind of chemistry between them.
Oh.
Because you never really see any of them arguing with each other, eh?
No, that's one thing I've not seen here. I've seen it in other countries, but not here. But we have to do something for them.
Yes,
they have to be someplace they can go. Even those folks who have to sleep on the street at night. I know some of them prefer to be on the street. One in particular, so you have your freedom. But we have to look out for them. If they want to come and go once, we can take care of them, keep them on the straight and narrow. Just be a bit more kinder to them.
And I'm also thinking as well, Hortensia, the tourists that come here, yes, they may be accustomed to going to other countries and seeing them.
Yeah, because they have a bigger variety in their countries.
But I think they're always going to be a little, if not, well, maybe not fearful, but concerned, worried, I don't know, about them, because they're not knowing us, not knowing our culture, not knowing the people. And they're going to be a little apprehensive about situations where they're seeing them. And well, thank God we haven't had any situations.
And let's continue to not have any.
According to old people, in
knock on wood.
But something needs to be done, something systematic, not just impulsive or on the moment, but policy or something. It needs to be looked at, and because they'll only go from perhaps bad to worse.
Yeah, because the young man that I think you're talking about, he has gotten the footballer. He's gotten worse. He wasn't that bad.
Okay.
He's gotten worse. As I said, now his pants is dropping down, and he don't even care to pull it up sometimes. And I'm like, wow, he's not doing well.
I heard a story. There was a gentleman, a clear guy from Lodge, I think it is, and he was walking around all kind of thing. I understand a lady came here, and perhaps he was walking at that time without a pant, and she took him back to England and cleaned him up and things like that and got married to him.
Oh, see. Well, I'll have to let you take that call, because I have to run at this point.
Okay, well, Hortensia, she's running away and abandoning me.
Not really. I'll be back tomorrow, but I got to run now due to circumstances.
What we'll do, Hortensia, we'll take a break and then we'll come back. Thank you for being with us this morning.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it. Thanks for the topics you've introduced and leading the discussions, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
I will try my best to, and to all listening, thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
And we're going to miss you for that half an hour, Okay.
Tire treads gone? Going bald? Don't let this be you. It's time for new tires from TDC Automotive. As the month rolls along, buy 2 or more tires and get 20% off your purchase. Get more savings and safer driving for the roads ahead. Visit TDC Automotive today at Southwell Industrial Estate in St. Kitts or Penny's Industrial Estate, Nevis. TDC Automotive, #1 for a reason. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid while stocks last.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people, Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices, Rams is always here. We want your loyalty, Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me. If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Welcome back to Island Tea here on WinFM 98.9. And just in case you're joining us, I am Troy Biff Mills. I'm holding it down for the quintessential one, Quint RQ, and he is on vacation and he will be back out shortly. So I'm basically on my last leg, and for this last few minutes, it's 9:36 and 24 seconds. I'm going to be going it alone, solo. And what better way to start by taking this call? Good morning, caller. You're on Island Tea. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, Biff, man. How you doing?
I'm
Morning to
blessed.
you, man.
I'm blessed, highly favored, giving thanks. What about you, caller?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Let me get straight to it. Thanks to Cortensia for abandoning you.
I don't know if she'll take that too kindly.
But thanks to Cortensia, man. Great host, man.
Indeed. She's doing an excellent job.
Yes. That was just a light moment, man. Anyway, let me get to it, Biff. Biff, I want to reintroduce one of my main concerns as a caller calling into these talk shows and being an activist for what I want and what I believe in. There's a piece of legislation that they have there that is blocking some of the citizens from being able to put their name on the ballots. I don't know if you're fully aware of that situation. But once upon a time, I was out of touch with this political affairs of the Federation, but I got reconnected about 2013 thereabout. And I didn't even know that persons in the diaspora could actually come home to vote. But
yes, that has always been the case. Whether it's right or wrong, that's a different argument.
Yes, that's correct. And my personal thing is, if you're going to give me the right to come home and vote, I should also have the right to come home and put my name on the ballot. You cannot give me one without the next.
Interesting. I don't remember hearing
that argument. You cannot give me one. You cannot just want me to be a voter. I cannot just be contributing to my society being a voter. And if anyone who has the interest, who this is affecting, who has the interest to give a contribution as a parliamentarian, especially, and this is the angle I'm coming from, Dave, if you are a natural born citizen, your neighbor, my neighbor's string is buried in cotton ground, bro. And no matter where I go in this world, if I have 100 passports from 100 different countries, because of the fact that my personal thing, because of the fact that I am born there, no matter where I go, no matter what I do, I shouldn't be barred from putting my name on that parliamentarian as a candidate to run for parliamentary office. That should never be. So the thing is, Biff, now, listen to me, hear me clearly. The disqualifying part of that legislation that says if you pledge allegiance to a foreign country and you gain a foreign passport. But the thing is, right, Biff, the starting point for me about this argument is that when the parliamentarians on the ground, when they put their hands on the Bible and put that one hand in the air and they pledge allegiance, they are pledging allegiance to a foreign country, a foreign denomination, the monarchy. So if you're blocking some persons because they pledge to a foreign country and gain a foreign passport, you are doing the same thing on the ground. You get what I'm saying?
Hello? Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, you get. Yeah, you getting me clearly, right?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Okay, so the disqualifying factor for those persons who has that foreign passport is the fact that they said that you pledge allegiance to a foreign country and you gain a foreign passport. I don't believe in that because the politicians on the ground, they're pledging allegiance to a foreign denomination, the monarchy.
Pledge allegiance to
So,
the king.
so in that regard, we're equal. So if anyone who has that foreign passport and pledge allegiance to a foreign country, if you're doing the same thing, both of you all should be disqualified.
But isn't it a little different though? Is it quite the same? Because though you're pledging allegiance to the king or whatever, he is a foreign entity, but the king is not a country.
Yeah.
But it's a case where you have a Kittian Nevis passport and you have whether Canadian or US, anywhere. Even Antigua and Barbuda.
I fully understand where you're going with it. I understand your point. He is a part of that Commonwealth, and he's the top of that Commonwealth. So you're pointing to the fact that he's still within that realm. I got you on that. But I still would want to see this be tabled back in the Parliament and let them look at this let them look at this again. Not only that specific legislation, but also the dual citizenship legislation as well.
I like the fact that you mentioned you living overseas, having dual citizenship, and being allowed to return to St. Kitts and Nevis to vote. And I think that is the case in most Caribbean countries. It doesn't make it right, because something is happening and has been happening for 500 years. It doesn't make it right. And I'm not saying it is wrong, but your argument is...
And I'm doing the same thing like you. And so then, therefore, we would want them to re-look at this, take another look at this.
Okay.
Right? Because Biff, what is actually doing, like the person that's coming home on them jet planes every year to vote or every time to vote, they're just coming home to vote for other people. Why can't somebody contribute and be a candidate from the diaspora so that we can get our full representation from outside here?
That again might
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I guess the constitution will have to be changed to allow that. But that again, that again, I don't know how many Kittians and Nevisians living overseas, maybe almost the same as living here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But so you mentioned someone living overseas coming back, dual citizenship. Would it be treated, or could it be treated the same as someone in St. Kitts and Nevis living in St. Kitts and Nevis with dual citizenship, would you treat it the same way? Would you treat it a little different? Plus, there's another element. Having gotten a green card or gotten citizenship not by birth, would it matter if your second passport came via birth? For example, the Honorable Sean Richards, if I'm not mistaken, he was born in the U.S., so he became a U.S. citizen by birth, and he had to give up that to actually run here in St. Kitts. So
okay, that is an interesting point, because how can a man give up his right to where he was born, man?
Boy, I wonder that.
You know, that I didn't even knew that's the case. I thought that he just I didn't know he was born in the U.S. territory. I didn't know that.
And I'm subject to correction, but that is my understanding, that he was actually born in the U.S. territory, and he gave up that. He denounced that, and he had to go to the U.S. to do that.
Man, if that's the case, that's even gonna make me think more deeper and revise some of my thoughts. But if that's the case, if that's correct, that is even more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How can you give up your right to where you was born, bro, in St. Kitts, or if you was born there?
I don't know. No doubt he would have weighed. No doubt he would have weighed the pros and the cons, and he made that decision. And I don't think
So what
he was
I'm
on
saying,
the
right? So what I'm saying is, whether he was born in the U.S. or not, right? Those persons who are affected that way, they shouldn't have to give up any rights at all. Whether you went to the USA and got married there, or you whatever, because remember now, people are going through a lot of hell to get that foreign citizenship, especially for the United States.
Caller, we have another caller, so could you wrap up in 30 seconds, please?
Okay, so real quickly, what I'm saying is, like, they need to take another look at this, because they're certainly blocking some persons from really getting the chance to contribute. And it's like this. What are they scared of, bro? It's like this, Bill. Just like how the Labour Party can recruit a person from the diaspora, the PAM Party can do the same thing.
Yeah,
so
it'll be open to everybody. It should be a level playing field.
So yes, because if you got a wicket keeper on your cricket team, I got a wicket keeper on my team. So there should be nothing to be afraid of. It's only thing they will just widen the scope and get a wider field of candidates to choose from. And lastly, let me get off real quick. The reparations committee, I'm calling them out, because that Destiny project that's proposed for Nevis, we haven't heard them said nothing about it, because we haven't got our reparations yet, and now we see a project proposed for Nevis that potentially is going to give away a chunk of our lands. And I'm calling out the
11.11%.
Yeah, thanks, Biff, and I'll leave it there for now, man.
All right, thanks a lot for calling, caller. We appreciate that. And that was a very interesting point there raised by the caller. 14 minutes to 10 o'clock, and time has really been slipping away. And call and share your views. I saw an article that we have another caller. Good morning, caller. Thank you for calling. Welcome to Island Tea.
Good morning, Troy.
Morning, sir.
Let me address the understanding of this dual citizenship and convert and sworn allegiance. You see, all those who think they had crafted the law and give a different understanding. If you are a natural born citizen of your country, and you migrate to another country and returning, and you want to participate in your country's politics, remember, you are a born citizen. You're entitled to participate in everything in that country where you were born. Now, this Brian Clause that prohibits a citizen of a foreign country, it's only I understand from my view, from reading that Constitution, if you are not born in there and is a citizen of the Federation, yes, you are barred from participate. But if you're naturally born there, that Brian Clause don't go further than speak to people who does not born in the federation.
Correct.
And that is the fight, that is a misunderstanding. We are all these scholars to interpret that. If there was an amendment when that Brian Clark came in during the Douglas administration that was striking at Fitzroy Bryant, okay? Yes, Fitzroy Bryant wasn't a born citizen. He's from Antigua, okay? But he speak to people like Fitzroy Bryant. But that's after when they did that amendment.
That was after the fact.
As far as they're concerned, Pearl is a citizen. Mr. Jones is a citizen, a born citizen of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He gained his citizenship in the United States, whether by
marriage or whatever.
Or marriage, yes. In that case, he would not entitled. But he's born in his country. He entitled to participate in his country's politics. And that's the misunderstanding. And someone needs to come out and clarify. The luminaries have to come out and clarify that interpretation. I, as a dumbass, understand what it is. And you're going to tell me it is ignorance?
So let me see if I quite understand you clearly, caller.
Yeah.
I am born here in St. Kitts and Nevis, so I'm entitled to enjoy all the benefits and privileges of a Kitty Nevision.
Absolutely.
If I were to get a green card or Canadian citizenship or whatever the case is, should I be allowed to contest the election or should I not be allowed?
You should be allowed.
I should be allowed. So whether you have dual citizenship or tri-citizenship, it doesn't really matter. Once you are born in a country, you should be allowed to, that is your view, contest the election.
And that's how it should be.
Okay.
You said green card. Green card, that law does not.
Yes, I think I heard something about that. Once you have a green card, yes. But if I have Canadian citizenship and I have U.S. citizenship, for whatever reason, my daughter is, let's say my daughter, she's a U.S. citizen and she applied for my citizenship. And let us say I married to a Canadian, and she applied for my Canadian citizenship. So I now have 3 passports, St. Kitts, Canada, and the U.S. It is okay for me to contest the election here in St. Kitts without having to give up any one of them. That is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
But your children who did not born there, even they become a citizen off of your petition, they cannot vote or participate or contest in our election.
So if I got a child with my Canadian wife who was born in Canada, even though my son, let us say my son, he will get a Kittian and Nevision passport because of heritage, he shouldn't be allowed to contest the elections here in St. Kitts and Nevis because he wasn't born here.
No, because he did not born there.
Carla, that's a very interesting perspective, you know.
We only speaking to the bond.
I'm with you. I understand you. That is very interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that point of view pushed forward before. And well, these are how things. This is how things are really changed with an idea. Somebody have an idea. I might consider it ridiculous. Somebody else may not. But they say, hold on, something is happening here. Something I keep. That might be a bad idea. Let us investigate it.
I will ask you to read the Constitution pertaining to the Brian Clough, and you will, I assure you, you will come to the same conclusion I come to. The Brian Clough only speaks to people who does not born there.
And it shouldn't prevent you whether you have dual citizenship. All right, Carl, I thank you very much for your view.
Last but not least, if you could come home and vote, okay, your vote is just as good as participating in the election, the politics, whether you are a candidate or...
That is what the previous caller said. The previous caller did say if he's allowed to come back home after living over there for however long and vote, he should be allowed to contest the election.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think...
Anyway, I'm not going to take up any more of your time.
Thanks a lot, caller. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening and thank for calling. And thank you for expressing that view. I've never dealt with it. But have a good day and continue listening with FM 98.9, please.
Always doing likewise. Have a blessed day.
Same to you, sir. Quite an interesting view. And I'd really like to hear other views on that. And these are the things, sometimes things are so obvious right in front of us, and we may not see them, and we may not pay attention to them. And of course, something might be so, I'm repeating it, but not quite understanding the details. It's like the laws of cricket or football or table tennis or anything. You may have sat and passed the exam, even if you got 100. But every time you read the law book, there's one little word in there that changes the whole statement and the interpretation of the law that you didn't understand the way before. I've had those experiences. I'm a qualified cricket umpire. I'm a former FIFA assistant referee. And when you read the laws of football, the laws of cricket, you didn't, there's a word. It's been there all along, but somehow you didn't grasp that interpretation before. And hey, we have time for probably 1 or 2, 3 more short calls. It is 6:40. Forgive me. I said 6 minutes to 9 o'clock. 5.5 minutes actually to 10 o'clock. Our boy Biffy come like I'm hungry or tired or sleepy. Let's go to this caller and hope he or she'll wake me up. Good morning, caller. Welcome to Island Tea.
Good morning. This whole idea of citizenship and whether or not what qualifies someone to be a candidate, I think if we go to first principles, what is democracy about? To me, when we're talking about democracy, it essentially means government essentially for the people, by the people.
Of the people.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right, all of that. And anything that prevents the people from choosing who they want to represent them is actually against the grain of democracy. Okay?
Very interesting perspective, caller.
Yeah, I know, especially these days when things like sovereignty seems to be becoming meaningless for some places, for some people. They should be allowed to choose who they want to govern them, right? And at the same time, it is also anti-democratic to have something like term limits. Now, we understand why people would want things like term limits because there have been many instances where you pretty much have dictatorship.
Exactly.
Right.
You start to believe the country and the people belong to you and you address them as my loyal
all
subjects
that,
or whatever
all
the
of
case
those
is.
things. All
And
of
you
those
become
things.
complacent and perhaps bankrupt of ideas.
Right, all of those things. But it still goes against the grain of of the first principles idea of what democracy is about.
But caller,
you should not be able to tell the people, well,
limit their choices.
Yeah, exactly.
But can I ask a question, caller? Suppose a question was put to the populace about the allowing persons with dual citizenship to run in an election as a candidate, notwithstanding what you're saying, and the majority of the people, I think with referendum it'll probably about 2/3, but the majority, let's say the overwhelming majority of the people say, yes, we do not want anybody with dual citizenship to run as a candidate. Would you consider that anti-democracy when the people have spoken?
Well, if the people have spoken and decided that, that's fine, okay, because the people have spoken. I agree.
Okay.
But at the same time, suppose for instance.
Caller, I have another caller holding. Could you wrap up in 30 seconds, please? Thanks.
Suppose for instance there is an exceptional leader anywhere, for that matter, right? And he decides that, well, let me come and run down here, okay? Do you think the people, the majority of the people, bearing in mind this was such an exceptional person, do you think they would object to them? Suppose a Mandela had come and said, well, I want to the leader of
Could you wrap up quickly, please? Time is slipping away. Also, it's
yeah.
mhm.
So what I'm saying, there are a number of things to consider.
Okay.
And it's all about democracy, I guess.
And the people. All right, thanks a lot, caller, for your input. We're going to this caller. Caller, you have 30 seconds. Oh, we lost the caller. And that's another very interesting perspective. Anti-democracy for perhaps governments to be limiting or restricting persons who will be able to run. We're going to take this final caller. Caller, you have exactly 30 seconds.
Yeah, hey, Biff, I wanted to add one last point to my argument real quick. Those persons who this legislation is affecting, right?
Yes,
they can at least, if you are a natural born citizen, they should at least allow you to run for parliamentary office, even if they block you from being the prime minister. They can allow you to at least run
we
for
have to
parliamentary
leave it there,
office.
caller. We have just 45 seconds and we need to wrap up.
Yes, I'll leave it there.
Okay, thanks a lot, caller. We appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now 36 minutes to 10 o'clock, and we have to wrap up the program. I do thank you for tuning in to Island Tea here on winnfm 98.9. Thank you for listening. And to those callers, thank you very much for calling in and expressing your view. Please join us tomorrow morning, Godspeed, at 8 a.m. when we'll bring you another edition of Island Tea here with Cartencia hosting. Have a good day, folks, and continue listening to WinFM 98.9.
Got itchy palms? That's a sign. Money could be coming your way with Scratch and Win from Caribbean Lottery. It's the easiest way to win instantly. No waiting, no